it's just an example. Purdue losing to Fresno State is okay. We still win the Big Ten West. But me,
Billy Napier gets fired. I'm just kidding.
really the best time of the year. I will be seated watching the Red Zone for 7 hours on Sunday. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Backyard Banter. Johnny, James, Tanner, and guys, we used to pray for times like this weekend in college football. What an electric weekend, not just this weekend, but next weekend. We're not going to waste any time. Just to give you guys some highlights of the games this weekend. Ohio State, Oregon, top 3 matchup. Ole Miss, LSU, top 15 matchup. Say what you want, Florida, Tennessee, still a rivalry matchup. Same with Texas, Oklahoma. Those are 4 loaded games, all from 3:30 Eastern on. Just absolutely electric weekend. We're going to start with the top 3 matchup. And it's a really interesting game because Ohio State hasn't played anybody yet. And Oregon played the best player in the country, Ashton Gentry, for Boise State, who is literally insane. But outside of that, these teams are not proven, and they're playing in Eugene. It's going to be prime time on NBC. I mean, James, we'll go to you first. I mean, who do you got and why?
Yeah, so last week I was actually, when I think Ohio State was underdogs by close to 18. At first I liked that. I was obviously big on the Hawkeyes going into the season. But we haven't seen the Buckeyes really play, right? And that's what you just alluded to. Like, when you have these dominant teams, and I think we're all very high on the Buckeyes, like, you just don't know what happens until they play a great team. I mean, when you look at their schedule and now you see Oregon just pop up, right? This isn't like they didn't really get like a game to like get ready. Sure, you can say Iowa, but then boom, you just get nailed by Oregon. And it's like, holy cow, because I was huge on Oregon last year. I was big on them this year. These are the 2 best teams in the Big Ten. And it's amazing. It's a great week. When I look at this game, I think it's a great quarterback matchup. I think Will Howard versus Dylan Gabriel is a great matchup. I am leaning Buckeyes here. I liked what I saw last week. I thought they were just at all levels dominant against a very good Iowa defense. Like, Iowa is not a very talented offensive team, but their defense is always going out there to ball. And I thought their offense for Ohio State looked really solid. Jeremiah Smith is an absolute stud for Ohio State.
Alien.
Like, Emeka Ibuka is still there, which is like, dude, he's
a first round pick.
Watching that Thursday night game, like last night, like watching like Tyler Lockett, just like a guy that you just like don't really realize he's still there, but he's so productive. And like, Jeremiah Smith has just been a stud for Ohio State so far, so I'm really excited to see him go up against an elite talent like Oregon. So I'm going to actually say, I have written here Ohio State by 10. I don't know if I want to hop on here and say that claim, but I do think Ohio State wins this game. I think they just have a lot of firepower on offense, and their defense is also very unreal. But really excited to see this quarterback battle. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's clearly, obviously, it's easy to say it's 2 versus 3, but this is obviously the game of the week. And this week and next week, like, I'm not sure which weekend's better, because next weekend is just as good. So we're going to have some great podcasts coming out.
For sure.
Yeah, real quick, 2 points here before I get into the game. There is a world out there where Jeremiah Smith was in the portal and is now a Florida Gator. I just want to say that.
That was in college football 25. That is the world.
Indeed, I brought him into Gainesville. Second point here, I couldn't help but laugh when you brought up Iowa, just because Cade McNamara is just getting cooked on the internet. I think it's great. It's hilarious. But to the actual game here, I look at this matchup and I don't really think about the players on the team. I think about the guys wearing the headset on the sideline. And when I look at this coaching matchup, Dan Lanning is a much better coach than Ryan Day. You can't convince me otherwise. I think Ryan Day is the most overrated head coach in the country. He's had so many good teams at Ohio State that he hasn't been able to win with. And by win, I mean by the Ohio State standard, and that's national and Big Ten championships. Just hasn't gotten it done. I think Dan Lanning's a much better coach. It's in Autzen Stadium, one of the toughest places to play. Love Dylan Gabriel. Oregon has a really good running back. They're going to be able to establish the run game. I like Oregon a lot at home. I just don't trust Ryan Day in a big game on the road.
Yeah, and that's really fair. I'm going to give you guys a really interesting stat. So in these new conferences, specifically the Big Ten and ACC, teams that travel 2+ time zones are like 2-10. That includes, think of teams, USC lost twice when they went 2 time zones. Michigan's got blown out by Washington when they went to 2 time zones. You know the only team in the Big Ten to win that went two time zones? Indiana. Shout out to the Hoosiers. I know Tanner
They
won't like
beat the
that.
worst team in the.
Yeah, they beat them by 30. So it's
They did
not,
beat
it's
UCLA,
not a close game. So Ohio State is traveling 2+ time zones. Like that's a real thing. This isn't NFL. These are 18 to, well, who knows, 18 to 25-year-old kids now that are that are getting on this plane and going. So with that being said, the other thing that really interests me about this game is think about the quarterbacks. Both of them transferred out because their previous schools thought they had a guy better. And now they're both leading top 5 teams in the country. I mean, you don't think that Oklahoma would love to have Dylan Gabriel right now after how bad Jackson Arnold turned out to be? But with all that being said, that kind of sets the scene here. I said in the preseason that Ohio State might be one of the most talented teams of all time. And I still believe that. I think they have 2 future first-round picks at receiver. I think they have 2 future well, it's the NFL, so I don't know how you value running backs. 2 future first-round talents at running back with Henderson and Judkins. And then you got a quarterback that I do not know what to make of Will Howard because I think he's going to have to make numerous throws in this game for them to win. But I think Ohio State's defense has a chance to be like historically good. Yeah. Just think about their defense. They got a first-round corner. The Caleb Downs might be the best football player in the country. He's there at safety. You got the guy, the first-round pick first overall player from 3 years ago, who I promise I'd never try to say his name again. But he's incredible, and he was going to be a first-round pick last year. Same with Igbuka, and they came back. And then you look at Oregon. Well, guess what? They got 2 receivers too. They got Evan Stewart. They got bodies up front. Their offense line is really coming into form. With all that being said, I lean Ohio State. I wanted to say Ohio State big, but I just don't see this game. And if it is big, I think Oregon wins big, honestly. But I think Ohio State is going to find a way to win because I just think they have so much talent, especially in their defense, to come out and match the athlete that Oregon has, athlete for athlete. And then offense, I think they just have too much for Oregon's defense. Oregon's defense is good, but it's not like this stout unit that Ohio State's is. So I think the big deal, if either of these teams can establish a running game early, especially with Ohio State with those 2 backs, one of them will always be fresh. I think that's a huge key. But so I'm going to lean Ohio State close here. But, I mean, what a game. I mean, you literally cannot pick wrong in this game.
You literally dream for an October 12th matchup. And this date has been circled since the schedule was released. Mm-hmm. I mean, podcasts all over the world were talking about, all right, everyone, October 12th. Heck, the whole week I've been seeing if anybody's getting married on Saturday, they should cancel their wedding. And you know what? I agree. I agree. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
I would also like to say, I don't think I said this. I trust Dylan Gabriel at home more than I do Will Howard in that environment as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really fair point. You're almost making me want to go Oregon, but I'm going to stay with Ohio State. But like I said,
roll with the Ducks.
Listen to the time zone stat. I mean,
I
had a little bit of confidence in Purdue tomorrow, but they're in a different time zone, so they're not going to perform well. So,
I'll tell you what.
That's exactly why.
When Oregon goes to Purdue next Friday, then they'll add another win to the time zone stat. So this is just for right now.
I just would like to whoever scheduled that game on a Friday night on Fox for the whole entire world to see in 6 days or 7 days. Yeah, thank you.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be a beatdown, but we'll go the next game. We won't talk as much as length about this game, but huge game in the SEC. It's an elimination game in the SEC. No, it's not because LSU does not have a conference loss, but it's an elimination game for Ole Miss. Them losing to Kentucky completely eliminated their margin for error, right? And they still got Georgia coming up on the schedule after this. So Ole Miss last week, everyone was kind of screaming at them, "Oh, you're so bad. You got blown out not blown out, but you lost to Kentucky." Then they go to South Carolina, who took LSU down the wire, and frankly should have won that game if it wasn't for some bad officiating, and beat them down. So now they go into Death Valley, and there's very few scenes in the country like Death Valley on a Saturday night, and that's what this is. So, I mean, who do you guys got?
Yeah, it's just like really weird because, like you said, this is a huge game. And the SEC, obviously, with bye weeks and all that, like you've got Texas A&M at the top at 3-0, right? And LSU's in second, tied for second at 1-0. So it's like there's still so much that can happen in the SEC, which is so exciting. And so for this week and next week, because there's big SEC matchups next week, obviously as well. This is a huge game for sure. Obviously, it's huge for Ole Miss because if they lose this one, they can pretty much kiss their chance goodbye, right? But for LSU, this is a huge game too because if you can go to 2-0 in conference play, I mean, you're sniffing at it, right? And so I like LSU here. I think LSU rolls here. I'm just not. I've never been bought in on Ole Miss. I never have. The only team I like out of Ole Miss is their baseball team. I grew up watching their YouTube channel when I was a kid, so I mean, I like it. Yeah, so I like their powder blues and all that fun stuff. But I think LSU is electric. I think their offense is very good. I think Nussmeier is a very strong quarterback in the SEC. Kyron Lacey is really fun to watch. I mean, he's a stud on the outside. So I think LSU rolls here. I think they win big. I think they understand how big of a game this is, obviously, for both teams. But I really want to see LSU get to that 2-0 and just sniff at being SEC champions. I LSU deserves it, right? They're a historic program. They've been good. They've had their rough years. Obviously, I love Brian Kelly. So who knows, man? I think LSU wins big here. I did ride again by 10, just like I did for Ohio State, and I will say it for this game. I think LSU wins by 10 plus. But again, this could go complete opposite because it's two good teams. It's an SEC matchup, and clearly after last week, we saw in the SEC anything can happen, right? So obviously, I don't think we're going to see a Vandy, Alabama ever happen again.
Don't say again. Maybe this season.
It could never this season, right? But I think LSU rolls here. I think they have a better quarterback, and I just love Kyron Lacey. So,
Yeah, I don't. Brian Kelly, to me, he doesn't really move me. He had Jaden Daniels and Brian Thomas a year ago and went 9-3. LSU is sure, but that's his problem.
They let up 64 points a game, but it's fair. Yeah.
I mean, he's a defensive head coach, so again, even more of a Brian Kelly problem. But no, I look at LSU. They've struggled against some opponents that, quite frankly, they shouldn't have struggled against. UCLA went into Death Valley and gave them a game, and UCLA, they're almost as bad as Purdue. I mean, I don't know if you can go that far, but they're bad. They are not a good football team. Jackson Dart, I think he's the better quarterback than Nussmeier. I think Jackson Dart's better. Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin has always been able to establish a run game. I don't see that stopping. I mean, LSU's defense has been pretty piss poor so far, to say the least. So give me Ole Miss. They're gonna get that run game going. Jackson Dart's a better quarterback. Lane Kiffin's a better head coach than Brian Kelly. I'll say it. I will sit here and say I don't care if it's in Death Valley. Ole Miss had to slip up at Kentucky, but I mean I think the Rebels are going to start rolling here. I was high on them in the preseason. I had them in the playoff. I'm not going to let one of my playoff teams preseason sit here and get knocked out on October 12th. No, I'm sticking with Ole Miss. I got to stick with them.
There's huge value before Johnny goes. There's huge value at LSU plus 3.5. I mean, great value.
In your mind, there's huge value on LSU money line.
Great value. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
140. Shoot, I mean,
okay. This game's really interesting to me for kind of things behind the scenes. LSU's coming off of a bye. Ole Miss has played what week is a 6 straight games. And that's a big deal. You know, they're on the road for the second straight week, so stuff like that matters. I agree with Tanner. I think Jackson Dart is the better quarterback. He's performed for now the third straight season, and Ole Miss needs to win this game. Ole Miss is a window program. What I mean by that is they're not like Alabama, like Georgia, like Florida in the 90s, like LSU in the early 2000s. They're not this program that can sustain this level of success and be a playoff contender. I said before, they're like Florida State. They could be really bad next year when you rely on their portal like this. That's part of the reason why Lane Kiffin is eventually going to leave for Florida, because he knows Florida is a program where you can sustain it. Ole Miss is a window program, so they need to win this game. I saw on a podcast that a lot of Ole Miss boosters are angry because they didn't pay to lose to Kentucky, and they paid a lot of guys. I mean, they had the number one portal class for a reason. They didn't pay to lose to Kentucky. They need to win this game. I thought LSU all week. I honestly thought LSU until about 30 minutes ago. But
dang, I changed your mind.
No. This one I was more 50-50. You know, I've seen all over, like LSU's a popular pick this week. LSU's like the A&M of a week ago, like a short home dog, even though A&M was favored, you know, against a team in the top 15 or whatever. but I think Ole Miss is better. Like I just think Ole Miss is a better football team. And you mentioned Nussmeier. Nussmeier's been good, but he's also been prone to throw that an interception or 4, like he threw against South Carolina. He didn't throw 4, but he threw multiple. And against Ole Miss, you can't do that. I agree with Tanner to an extent. I think they'll be able to establish the run. But LSU had 2 tackles preseason that were all SEC, and they're both going to be the starting tackle in Tennessee transferred out from LSU because he was going to start there, just kind of prove how talented that they were. And they have not played well this year. So I think Ole Miss is going to be able to get after the quarterback a little bit. So I'm going to lean Ole Miss here. I've wanted this every week, like a 0 confidence pick. I'm less confident in this pick than I am in the Oregon-Ohio State game. But I just think that the coming off a bye and playing 6 straight weeks, like that's a real thing. And then not only you like go into Death Valley, like that is a real thing. But I just think, Jackson Dart makes a few special plays. Ole Miss has the leading receiver in the SEC. So, look, LSU's defense is still improving to me. So, I'll lean LSU here. But
Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
there you go. All right, lean Ole Miss here, not LSU.
Hey, go Tigers.
I want to talk about the Florida game briefly. So, first, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Do you think Florida has a chance to at least cover the 15.5, or maybe got bet down to 14.5?
Right off like my head because I really didn't think about this game much. I knew we were going to talk about it a little bit because it is a big matchup and it could set a stage of being a good game, but I don't think it's going to be. I think Tennessee coming off a loss is just like they know they got to go, right? It's just like you can't have those losses to a team like Arkansas, which again this year they're not bad, right? But a historic team where I can't really think about them being just this. In my lifetime, this historic program in the SEC. So, like, it's such a big loss for Tennessee that I think they just come out. I don't know what time that game is, 2:30? Probably.
No, it's a night game in Neyland.
Well, 6 o'clock at Neyland? Yeah, you're getting torched by 30, probably. So,
I don't
Rocky Top's going to be blaring. That place is going to be electric. I'm sorry.
One place Rocky Top is blaring is in Fayetteville, Arkansas right now. Because Arkansas social media team having a field day.
Yeah, that was fire. But this game being a night game, yeah, I'm sorry, Florida doesn't stand a chance. Sorry.
Yeah, if Tennessee wasn't coming off of a loss, I would probably think a little bit differently. About 15.5 points, that's what it was this morning, last I saw. Yeah, night game in Neyland. Who's starting at quarterback for the Gators?
Graham Mertz plays the first 2 drives, and then Lagway comes in, and then Mertz plays 2 more, and then Lagway comes in, and then Mertz plays 2 more.
That's so what funny. I thought. If it was DJ Lagway, I'd feel a little bit better. Graham Mertz, I'm so sorry. I get it, good touchdown interception ratio, but if you can't move the ball, especially on the road in the SEC, which I feel like Lagway would at least give you a chance to move the ball downfield, I don't like Graham Mertz at all. Tennessee's going to be pissed off, and really, quite frankly, how Florida looked against Miami and Texas A&M at home tells me I don't like the Gators covering 15.5 in Neyland Stadium, but I could be wrong. At the end of the day, I do coach the Florida Gators in another universe, so I will be rooting for the Florida Gators against our big rival, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Our big rival.
Right over left, T. Right over left.
There you go. Tanner won this game in his dynasty because I was there when he did it, but
not in the national championship. I did not.
Oh, geez. Didn't need to hear that. We could have left it there. I think this game is interesting in some ways because, Tanner, you're 100% right. The only teams that Florida have played that are at this level are A&M and Miami, and we saw what happened there. The thing that makes me slightly excited for this game is because it appears that Florida went in the bye week and actually made structural changes to their defense. UCF was a top 10 rushing team in the country, and Florida held them to 2.3 yards per carry. That is really freaking good. RJ Harvey's a real deal running back for UCF. He'll start at almost any place in the country. That's how the kind of back he is. I don't think Florida's going to win. I think Florida has a very good chance to cover. I think Nico, like I said before, he is young. I don't think he is this world beater that people made it out to be when they were beating Chattanooga 69-3. That doesn't matter. If you look at the games where they played real opponents, Nico has 1 touchdown in those 2 games against Oklahoma and Tennessee. NC State is on Purdue's level right now. That's how atrociously bad they are. They've lost to Tennessee and Clemson by a combined 110 to like 40. That's pretty bad.
Purdue
But
lose to one of them 110 to 5. No,
yeah, there you go. But Tennessee's secondary is really vulnerable. The reason why it's not tested is because their front seven is legit. Like James Pierce, like he's a game wrecker. Like he's the real deal. I think Florida's offense can hold together enough. If Florida puts together any semblance of a run game, then I think they have a chance of actually upsetting Tennessee. Like that is a huge key. Florida was able to run the ball really well against Tennessee last year. That's why they beat them in the Swamp. But for this, look, I think Graham Mertz is a perfectly fine quarterback team. You're right. He literally can't throw it past 25 yards on a seam, which sucks, but he's not going to miss a throw within 25 yards. And that's still really valuable to have in an offense. Knowing that if you're running a 12-yard hitch, he's going to put it to you right in the face mask, and you're going to pick up a 3rd and 6. Like, that is still valuable to have. And I think there's real vulnerabilities in Tennessee secondary. And for Florida, if the UCF game wasn't a mirage, which I personally think it was, like, I'm seeing all these national TV people because all they do is look at the stats, and they're saying, Florida has this great pass rush. And I'm like, no, they don't. I'm screaming at the TV because they don't get any pressure unless they bring like simulated blitzes on 3rd down, which is something that they put into the bye week last week. So that's the improvement, where the improvement was. If Florida can stop Sampson on the ground, Tennessee's running back, they're also going to have a chance here. Florida's secondary is sneakily pretty good. Jason Marshall is the highest rated cornerback in the SEC. He is over a 90 PFP grade. Like, you know, he's a legit NFL talent. Florida's got 4 linebackers that they rotate in and out that are all really freaking good. Their safety room has been improving every week. If I still see freaking DJ Douglas, number 12, out there, I might throw something. Well, I'll be at work. I might throw something through the monitor at the Utah Jazz facility.
How about you throw a cleat?
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah. Okay, it's still too soon. It is still too soon for that. With all that being said, I think Tennessee wins, but I think there's a real chance this game is close till the 4th quarter. I think Florida covers here. I think Tennessee wins. I think Tennessee's up like 7 in the 4th quarter. They score a touchdown with like 5 minutes left, win by that 10 to 14 range. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, look, if Florida gets this win, all of a sudden Billy Napier has completely resurrected the program when it was down for dead. And it really kind of makes things interesting going forward, because if Florida wins this game, you know, you only have, and in Florida's schedule, the way that it's shaping out, like, if you win and you pull off a few more upsets, then Billy Napier might be able to keep his job. But it starts with this game. And like I said, I'm not expecting a win, but I am expecting for Florida to come out and look competitive. And if they don't look competitive, that is a big problem, because Napier has nothing going right now on the recruiting trail. And his last kind of gasp is to be competitive in this game and to pull off an upset here.
I do gotta. What's our because obviously we had a little wager this summer on win total. That's a big
4.5.
That, what is it? 4.5.
4.5.
Okay, I mean it's getting close, because your last game of the year you pretty much have a lock.
Yeah, Florida State. You got to find one more win in 5 games to get $20 from Jay.
Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, LSU.
I'm going to tell you this: they're going to be one of LSU or Ole Miss at home, just somehow. Probably. But we'll move on.
Florida State. But.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny how Billy Napier is going to end up in West Lafayette, Indiana, when it's all said.
Holy
As what? An offensive analyst? Like
quarterback
I
coach.
see the stars aligning. It's going to happen.
I mean, you can have him. Look, I've said it before. I think Billy Napier is a fantastic human being. I don't like the whole head coaching part, especially in the second half of games, just not there, which is fine. He's a good human.
Tanner doesn't think Ryan Walters is a good coach or a good human being.
See, that's a double whammy. There's nothing you do with them. There's nothing you do at that point. There's a Red River Shootout, Texas, Oklahoma. We don't have to go too in-depth into it, because I don't know how Oklahoma's still ranked. Like, I understand they were ranked high in the preseason, but I think Texas clears here. But I do want to say this. I don't think Texas is like this number 1 tier, and then everyone else is down here. Like, I don't think Texas is here. I don't think Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss are here. I think it's much closer than that. And just because Texas had a bye last week and played Mississippi State the week before that, like, you know, I kind of wanted to calm the Texas hype talk. because they haven't played anyone since they played Michigan. And Michigan, barely counts as a football team. They might as well be Navy and run the triple option with Alex Orji. That's their best chance to win. But will be said, I think Texas. I think Texas wins here, but I hope it's competitive because this game's always really fun.
Yeah, this spread is it started. It's what 15, close to 15, I think. And when you look at Oklahoma, I totally agree. Like Texas is by far the better team, like undoubtedly the better team. But Oklahoma just has been playing these games, their last games, tight. I mean, every game they've played besides week 1 has been tight. They played Tennessee tough. They played these other teams tough. I don't think they have an ability to score, but I think
they played Tulane tough too at home, by the way.
Well, I understand what you're like. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Oklahoma's a good team, but I think they're I don't know, that 15. Don't get me wrong. I think Texas can win by 30, but I also see this game kind of being close going into the fourth quarter, and then Texas kind of runs away with it, kind of like Michigan has done all season with all their wins. Like one of those going into the fourth quarter. You're still watching because it's still a football game, and then Texas runs away with it. That's my prediction. So
there you go.
Yeah, I to be totally honest with you, I would much rather save the Texas talk on my end for next week because this is not going to be a contest. I think I think it's ugly. I think Texas blows them out.
But I just wanted it to be known, like Texas number 1. They've been top 3 all year. I just don't think they're head and shoulders better than the 2 through 4 in the SEC. Like I don't think they're head and shoulders better than Georgia. And we'll see next week. We will see next week.
I would agree with you, but I know for a fact that they are head and shoulders better than Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's just fact.
I think they're a whole Trevor Montiel body length better than Oklahoma.
Ooh, that's big. That's a big boy.
Big cat. We'll move on to the NFL. I do want to give a quick shout out to my fantasy football league that my family has because there's just been some competitive matchups, and Mama Shields is a massive trash talker. She played me last week, and she beat me, and she beat me down. Lauren also beat me, and Lauren's team's incredible. She's on like a 4-game winning streak. So I told my family I would shut them out, and I want to shout out our fantasy.
Sucks.
Well, it's because James is 0-5.
No. Since you brought up fantasy and you brought up your family league, I'm going to bring in my league with my boys back home because I won for the first time last week. Let's hear it. Yep, I'm 1-4. No. I have scored 649 points in 5 weeks.
That's insane.
I am the second leading scorer in the league behind the guy who's 4-1 by 4 points. So I'm 4 points away from being the leading scorer.
You see 5-0 under Team G Money. 5-0.
I don't care. I have the greatest team ever assembled, and I'm 1-4. I will stand on business. This team, if I go 1-15, honestly, it might be better because I will go viral because it's the greatest team ever assembled that is 1-4. I've scored 650 points in 5 weeks. It is unreal how I am 1-4. But we can talk about the NFL. Let's do it.
There we go. Big game for each of our teams. The Bears are across the pond. They play maybe the worst defense in modern NFL history with the Jaguars right now. Like even when they win, they give up 35 points. And the Bucs have the Saints, and Spencer Rattler is starting for the Saints. So Spencer Rattler is going to throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns. I mean, you can just book it. I mean, you can literally just book it. And he's not going to do anything the rest of the year, but he's going to give the Bucs hell, utter hell. With that being said, I know how you guys feel about the Bears this week, but you can just reaffirm to the people, especially in our TikTok comment section that are always so mean to us, is saying that the Bears are atrocious. So.
Yeah, so the Chicago Bears are 3-2. They need to come out and take care of business and win a football game like they should against an opponent that's not as good as them. I will say I would love to see this no huddle offense a lot more. They ran no huddle 34% of the time last week, most in the NFL, and that has been very good. Caleb is comfortable running the no huddle. It keeps the defense in basic looks. They can't run these stunts. They can't run these hidden coverages. They can't really disguise anything when you go no huddle. It's just basic zone, man-to-man defense, easy to read for Caleb. Keep going no huddle. He looks so good in it. He's so good at just making adjustments pre-snap based at what he sees. Sorry, pause moment. But, yeah. But, yeah, no.
He looks so good.
Caleb and the Bears, they need to keep going no huddle. I like it a lot, that tempo. is really, really good for this offense. It should be more than 34% this week. It's something they should do all the time. And in years prior, I would be very concerned about a setback and a potential loss out in London. I don't really feel that way at all, which honestly, that sounds kind of dangerous to say, but I'm pretty confident that we should win this game. I mean, they're a much better football team all across the board.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is we're playing London's team, right? Like Jacksonville, when the NFL in 10 years expands across the pond, this will be the first team that goes. I mean, they're undoubtedly going to be a London team. Jacksonville, Jacksonville, Florida. I've never been. Jacksonville, Illinois is
I'll tell you what,
far superior than Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. I could be wrong. Is the biggest city by like landmass.
Wow. Okay, so I'm wrong. So I'm wrong. Maybe
no, not by population, just by strictly like land.
Or maybe it's fire. That's fire.
I gotta say, I ate at a Whataburger a mile from their stadium 2 summers ago, and that's the first time I've ever had that place. Never going back. That place sucks. It is terrible.
Yeah. I live in Florida, and I've never even had Whataburger, whatever it's called. And like, if there was, let's say there's 1,000, there's more than this, but like 1,000 U.S. cities, Jacksonville probably ranks like 977.
Dang, that's crazy.
You guys are 950. Give you guys something.
But anyway, we got the Bears. Incredible value on their money line, by the way. I mean, just wow. I'm gonna wake up a little. No, it's down to 1. It's been bet down to 1, just so everyone is aware. The 3-2 Bears taking on the 1-4 Jacksonville Jaguars is getting bet down in favor of the Jags. But you look at this team for the Bears team, and I've said it all season long. We've all known it since preseason. This Bears defense is unreal. And, a few episodes into this podcast career of Backyard Banter, I said some crazy statement that Trevor Lawrence
top 3 quarterback, baby,
in the NFL. And you know what? I was standing on business for as long as I can. But today, on October 11th of 2024, that statement is it's rejected. We're taking it away. But my concern is with me doing that, he's going to re-solidify it on Sunday morning. But I don't think so. The Bears defense is unreal. I think this is an incompetent Jacksonville Jaguars team on every level of the game. I think their defense is so bad. I think their offense is god-awful too. I think the Bears have an ability to go and win big.
Even their
get some
punter
fans
sucks.
over in London. Yeah, even their punter sucks, and we for sure have the best punter. So I think we win in offense, we win on defense, we win on special teams. The Bears win by 10. It's that simple. The Chicago mayor is getting slandered on because they're upset that he's going to London instead of taking care of business in Chicago. You know what? Who cares? Go to London. Right? Because you know what? Root for the Chicago Bears. He said he's going for business. Not quite sure how that works. I've never been a mayor before, but I got to imagine there's not much business he's going to be partaking in when he's watching the Bears play in London.
But there's enough problems in Chicago. I don't know if he needs to go to London.
Oh, it's fine. He can go. But anyway, the Bears win big. I think the defense is always going to be there. And now the offense is starting to click. I said it in the last podcast, and it got some slander on, like Tanner said. I haven't been on a short. Like, I haven't said anything on a short in so long, and the one that we post gets 8. Like, shoot, I must suck at this. But anyway, I think the Bears' offense is really clicking. Caleb Williams and DJ Moore, it's really fun to watch. I think they have an electric Sunday morning. Usually they don't like waking up early Sunday morning, but guess what? I'll be locked and loaded for 8:30. So
here, I'll read the comments. R, that has a seal face emoji, as you can see right there.
Dang.
Lamau, classic delusional Bears fans, talking about Tanner and James. Ryan Lemmer 4 doesn't have a profile picture. He must be ugly. Said, I don't get why this video is so long. Could have been 2 seconds, comma. Good grammar, good for him. Parentheses, no, period, done, period.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, well.
Well, he must not know that the Bears got the Jags this week. Get the 4 wins.
He must not know that the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was Tanner's claim.
Well, here's the problem with 8:30. The Bears play at noon. I'm up at like 6. Can't wait for the game. What time am I waking up for 8:30? My internal clock might have me up at 3 a.m.
You might not go to bed.
I might not go to bed.
Tanner's normally on the Benedictine Water Tower around 3 a.m. on a Saturday night.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I like the Bears here too. Even though I was heavily on Jacksonville last week, I think they were going to beat the Colts last week. Like you said, when one defense is atrocious and another is a top 3 unit in the NFL, you tend to lead toward that team. But for the Bucs here, after they didn't get screwed, but after they lost that game, they gave that game away to Atlanta. This becomes really a must-win because you got Baltimore and Atlanta the next 2 games in whatever order. Those are 2 big games. You would like to go 2-1 in this stretch of New Orleans, Atlanta, Baltimore. Like you like to go 2-1 in this stretch. Rookie quarterback, the last rookie quarterback the Bucs faced, Bo Nix shredded them, and that's obviously not a good look. The Bucs are getting healthy. Kalijah Kancey, first round pick from a year ago, he is apparently supposed to be back. He had a really strong last 5-6 games. Antoine Winfield is going to be a game-time decision. That is massive if he can play. Luke Gedeke is supposedly back, one of the best right tackles in football. Graham Barton is out on the offensive line, our center. Graham Barton, first-round pick. He's out with some hip thing. Probably did it putting up storm shutters for the first time in Tampa for his home. But I don't see a way. Okay, let me rephrase this. I do see a way Tampa loses here. I would be surprised if Tampa loses in this spot because Tanner, you're like me. You're high on the Bucs. I think the Bucs are a legit team, and if you're a legit team, I think the Saints are the most fraudulent team in the NFL. Going off of the first 2 weeks that people want to annoy Derek Carr, the MVP of the league, and him having a resurgent season. No, I think they are bad. I think there's still potential for them to finish within like a game or 2 of the Carolina Panthers. That's how bad I think the Saints are. So with all that being said, they're probably going to beat the Bucs by 25. But I think the Bucs win here. I think they win fairly comfortably.
Yeah, I would agree. I just think the Bucs are better on both sides of the ball. Spencer Rattler is terrible. How he made it in the NFL just blows my mind. There's not quarterbacks that graduated college football last year that are better than Spencer Rattler. Are we serious? I mean that guy.
Oh, you should see the guy that they put in, Jake Honor or whatever that they put in.
I mean,
oh my goodness,
Fresno State maybe. I don't.
Fresno State guy. Yeah,
he's worse.
But Spencer Rattler sucks. The Saints.
Watch him out because I'm telling you, he's gonna throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he is.
He's not because the Saints' offensive line's not good. Kamara's okay. Kamara's good. Chris Olave is okay. Outside of that, the Saints roster sucks. Bucs are way better. I'm not worried about the Bucs. I think you should be living comfortably Sunday, Johnny.
We'll see. Hopefully,
Saints win this game. No, that's my opinion. That's my pick. That's my take.
There you go.
I hopped on TikTok a few nights ago, and I love when the TikTok edits of like the press conference with the coach, and he's like, "Yeah, Spencer Rattler is going to be our starting quarterback," and it fades out to all of his college highlights, and it just inspires.
What highlights?
He
was decent at South Carolina for like 3 games one time.
He really wasn't bad. But here's the thing: I watched obviously that Monday night game against the Chiefs. Without saying too much, Chris Olave, I really hate you right now. Financially, I hate you. So like, I think the Saints have a better offense than I think people give it to them. I mean, Tanner just said Alvin Kamara was okay, and then he resaid that he's good. Shaheed has just like emerged on Monday.
Stud.
Right? Yeah, he's very good, right? And so they have a 1-2, the legitimate 1-2 punch. What? Chris Olave is not good?
I'm not willing to say
1-2 punch. Them two combined make one.
That's what really got me there because I'm not willing to sit here and say that Rashid Shaheed is a viable.
Rashid Shaheed is one.
You want to know? You want to know a 1-2 punch? Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
I'm
saying that's what I'm putting it to. I think when Nakua's healthy and Cooper Kupp is healthy, that's a 1-2 punch, right? When
like
Stephon Diggs,
Keenan Allen, 1-2 punch. I get it.
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
No, here's the thing. Like Rashid Shaheed not only is on the NFL All Name list, he just inspired me on Monday. I'm telling you, a lot of my takes go off inspiration. Okay, and TikTok inspired me for Rattler, and Rashid Shaheed's legacy game against the Chiefs, 1, lost me coin, and 2, inspired me that they're going to go at home and beat the Bucs. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And when you look back, I'm
We
telling
got
you,
guys. We got to confirm. Rashid Shaheed makes James emotional.
he
He's
does.
just inspirational.
He does.
I'm like Rashid Shaheed as a number 2 wide receiver on an NFL team tells me that NFL team is not serious about winning this year. That's what that tells
Oh,
me.
shush. Oh, be quiet. He's been very good this year.
Yeah, he
He's
has
been
been.
good and he's in my fantasy starting lineup, but I'm not proud that he is in my fantasy starting lineup. I just don't like
That's
Rashid.
He's making Weber State real proud. That's what he's doing. All
Good for
right.
him.
And the Saints win here. The Saints win. That's just all.
There you go.
Well,
One more game. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders play Baltimore. It is in Baltimore. What a game this turned out to be. I think Baltimore is one of the best teams, like I said last week in the NFL. I think they win and they win big here. This is only a matter of time until Jaden Daniels has some sort of regression. And I think this is a spot for it. I hope he doesn't put us into a recession. That would suck. Jaden Daniels has some regression. And I think that spot's here. Baltimore's defense, I think, is going to be the best defense he faced, maybe outside of Tampa's in week 1, back when Tampa was healthy. But, we will see. Lamar's unreal. This is the first test in quite a while for Washington. Like, for example, they played Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow still put up plenty of yards and plenty of points on them. Jane Daniels just outscored them. I don't think Jane Daniels is going to be able to outscore Baltimore here.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the Commanders are catching the Ravens at a bad time. I think that's what it is. I think the Ravens are finding their stride, and I think that's the truth of the matter. So I think the Ravens. I agree, they win big. I'm still not like Jaden Daniels has been unreal, but I'm not bought in yet. Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in that class, undoubtedly. I want him to start playing poor. That way, our draft pick doesn't constantly look terrible. Because every year when we draft,
you guys are atrocious.
There's always one.
They can both be good.
What?
They're both allowed to be good. It's okay. This isn't Bryce Young, CJ Stroud.
But I think either way, the Commanders. One, I got in a fight with a Commanders fan a few years ago on a Thursday night game, which I immediately started hating him. And then anyway, I just think they're catching the Ravens at a bad time. I think the Ravens are one of the best teams in football. Heck, they're my Super Bowl pick. So I think the Ravens win.
So your inspiration for that one is not off TikTok. That one's off.
No, that was here. That was here. I mean, come on.
I love Tanner. I love your face when you disagree with James.
Yeah, I'm just really confused what he disagreed with, though. Like, I mean, what did I say that was that crazy?
I'm laughing at the fact that Jaden Daniels was given the NFC Rookie of the Week ahead of Caleb Williams this past week because statistically Caleb was way, way better in every aspect. Okay, sure, Jaden Daniels had 40 extra rush yards. Cool. Blasphemy. Absolute blasphemy.
Jaden Daniels has more aura.
I didn't hate Jaden Daniels until I saw that.
True.
There is this notion in the media that Jaden Daniels is just dramatically outplaying Caleb Williams, which is not true. Caleb Williams is playing very well as well. Jaden Daniels is playing better, but it's not as dramatic as it is. And the fact that he won Offensive Rookie of the Week last year it's a great tragedy of the NFL.
There you go.
But no, I think the Ravens absolutely roll here. The Commanders are going to come back to life, and life for them is not a 4-1 football team. So yeah, I like Jaden Daniels. He's good. I think he's probably going to end up on the IR at some point by the end of the year. Probably needs to maybe take a little bit less hits. But
see, I don't say stuff like that. All right.
Well, it's
that's an actual valid thing because Jaden Daniels does take some ridiculous hits.
I mean, he's going to end up like IR5 on the Colts. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Richardson is now IR5.
That poor guy had a terrible sequence. I mean, he got up. He's like, I'm fine. Goes for another.
Shane Steichen did not want him to be his quarterback because they were like, let's test how good you are. Yeah. Anyway, we'll end it in a very pessimistic way. This was a positive podcast for the most part.
I guess Jaden Daniels goes on the IR on Sunday. You mean
it's going to happen at some point. I like to, and by the way, Caleb Williams to win Rookie of the Year at plus 300. You want to talk about the greatest value you've ever seen on anything ever?
Because Rookie of the Year and all these awards are always about like the media and where the way the media is going, and the media is all over Jaden Daniels right now because he had that one sick pass down the sideline. So,
but if he misses 2 weeks,
they're all over Jaden Daniels. But when he's sitting on the IR with a hip injury in like 3 weeks, then
okay, that one's targeted at Anthony Richardson.
Definitely.
They're the same player. Well, Jaden Daniels is better, but they're the same thing.
I like the comparison. I love that comparison because when I watch Anthony Richardson, I just feel like he just throws it deep and someone's there. And like Jaden Daniels has been doing that these last couple of weeks. Obviously, that takes an immense amount of skill and whatnot, but like it just kind of bugs me because truthfully, I've never seen a Bears quarterback just chuck it and there's a guy there. When they do, they drop it, i.e., Mitch Trubisky and what's his name in the end zone, Wims or whatever his name was. But anyway, Johnny, just have a podcast. We're just
I think Jane Daniels is more like Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, body type wise, because Anthony Richardson's like 6'5", 250.
Yeah,
he's a freak.
Well,
but with that being said, if you made it to the end, leave a like, subscribe, send it to someone, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.
See ya.